Well, the Presidential Election Petition Court is yet to give a date to deliver judgment on petitions challenging the electoral electoral victory of Bola Tinubu at the polls. Nevertheless, pressure is already mounting on the judiciary. There's already a sense in some quarters that the court may not deliver what they consider justice. Well, our Rise Judiciary correspondent Godfrey Shemoge has been following this, but pretty much later we give you a sense of what his report is about. But again, for more on this, I'm now being joined by Dr. Olukayode Ajulo. He's a lawyer and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, as well as a tutor. So grateful to have you on the show, and thanks for your time. There are a lot of things Nigerians, as I say, some of your colleagues, they say once it's in court, you just go through the periphery. So let's look at, the apprehension and the weight of Nigerians. Perhaps Nigerians had thought that this would get some kind of speedy, accelerated, as they say in legal jargon, accelerated hearing. With the pause, seeming pause. What does this say?
Well, I wouldn't really like to call it a seeming pause, because you have to understand that this is election petition. This is a petition, this election over 36 states, 770 something local government, wards, and in a situation where the petitioner had mentioned the numbers of witnesses. As of now, the matter is, the address has been presented. What is expected is at least we need these justices, they are not machine. They need to determine, they need to review all that's been said. They need to look at it, and they have a way. And when it comes to writing judgment, it starts from identify the fact. Again, you have to look at the testimonies of witnesses. Then you now look at the issue as canvassed by each counsel. Don't forget that here, they discuss the issue of several preliminary objections. And if you remember, if you monitor the proceeding, most of this preliminary objection is to the fact that the counsel will mention that during the written address, we are going to give the reason for objecting to all this. And now it is time for them to view all this, to comb it. And mind you, it seems that all eyes on them will be may that day never come when we say our Lord Justice have made a mistake. So the essence of not making that mistakes is that they need all this time to really work and to look at it. And at the end of the day, as what they mentioned, they will communicate the day of delivery of the judgment to the parties, and I believe very soon they're going to do that.
It's good a thing that you're here to be able to clear the air and give a sense of what this is about. But again, let's also dig in deep. This is not about the election petition, but for such kind of weight, give us an idea of what may be going on behind the scene, because that was why I said a lot of people have said a kind of seeming pause. But again, activities are happening behind the scene. But again, before I let you answer that, let's quickly see what Godfrey Shemoge has on this that he's been monitoring.
The social media is awash with posts by self-styled citizen journalists who are, first of all, voicing displeasure over the seeming delay in the announcement of the date to deliver judgment on petitions challenging the outcome of Nigeria's presidential election. Supporters of Atiku Abubakar, presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), and Peter Obi of the Labour Party have taken over the social media, and already there is a hashtag "Tell us the date" trending on microblogging site X. Yet there is nothing unusual for the Court of Appeal not to disclose the day it will deliver judgment until the judgment is ready. It is a practice with the court. Even retired Supreme Court Judge Mary Odili and former Works Minister Babatunde Fashola have been subject of controversy and wild conspiracy theories on the alleged part they are likely to play in influencing the decision of the Presidential Election Petition Court to be skewed in favor of President Bola Tinubu. These allegations they have strongly denied. A section of the legal community says the concerns by Nigerians seem well-founded due to events of the past, but crave the judiciary at least be given a benefit of the doubt.
We've seen executive suppression. We've seen executive interference. We've seen all manner of accusations, rightly and wrongly, before now. So these are the things that have sent small fears, doubts, mistrusts in the hearts of the people. But I think we should need to give judiciary a chance to prove its independence. I'm sure that is why this clamor on whether judiciary can stand firm or not. So we can't determine now until the judgment is handed down, until the judgment is reviewed based on the facts of the case and the law.
A judge cannot sell out simply because there is high expectation from the public. Rather, the judge will deliver his judgment based on the admissible evidence placed before the court. So, whether there is high expectation, whether there is low expectation, the judge will deliver the judgment according to the evidence and not according to public expectation and perception.
In high-profile cases, there is often the notion that it is the judiciary that comes under trial.
I've never held that view because judiciary is not the one on trial. It's the matter that the parties present before the judiciary that is being tried. Perhaps some people believe that judiciary is on trial because of the expectation and the perception they have. But for us, within the legal cycle, I never hold the view that judiciary is on trial because it's handling a sensitive case. Mind you, every case is sensitive to the litigant.
Everything has been dumped on the laps and doorstep of the judiciary. It means that Nigerians are now relying on the judiciary to do what INEC failed to do. Everyone is relying on the judiciary as the last hope of the common man. Everybody is relying on judiciary to do justice, which is why we only caution that justice must not necessarily be in line with your expectations.
With the countdown to Judgment Day, the social media is now by far the most busiest platform for discourse on what may likely be a landmark decision amidst heightened expectations.
What we read on social media most times are completely different from what the reality in court. So what I will tell the public is expect the judgment according to evidence presented by each of the parties. Nothing more, nothing less.
Start working up sentiment.
Court does not deliver judgment based on sentiment. The court does not deliver judgment based on emotion. It's a court of law, it's not court of emotion, it's not court of sentiment, it's not court of religion.
Justice Haruna Tamani and the 4 other judges that make up the Presidential Election Petition Court panel are arguably amongst the most popular individuals in the country, as the hopes of countless millions of Nigerians now seemingly resting on their shoulders. Godfrey Eshamoge, Arise News.
Well, thank you, Godfrey, and I think it looks like that sets the agenda and also sets the background for what we're dealing with. The social media and the populace, listening to some of your colleagues there, they've been able to say, look, this is not what it is exactly. And we've also seen some highly placed individuals in the country being fingered wrongly, as some of them have also asked that the Inspector General of Police look into the matter again. But again, speak to us on I want us to delve into activities behind the scene. What people, let's enlighten some minds here. What exactly is going on when that activity has seemed to have ended in the courtroom?
Well, we have to be sincere here.
Yeah.
I've never been a judge, so I may not know exactly what is going on behind the scene, but one may use his experience as an arbitrator, particularly as the chairman of some of the arbitration panel, to maybe try to do some a little bit. You know, after the final address by the parties, what is expected, whether if it's an arbitration, which I believe may be a little bit akin to what is being done, is for the party, is for the judge to have meeting. Then, you know, they will have some time to really review what is before them, then I'm sure sometimes they may have more than 2 or 3 or 4 different conferences, discuss, and then maybe at the end of the day, choose those who will really lead judgment if there's any dissension, and if there's no dissension, and for all of them to really agree with whatsoever they discuss, and then deliver the judgment. But like as rightly pointed out by one of these contestants, what matters most is the judgment will be based on evidence presented, the fact of the matter, and the position of law. Not about, unfortunately, the unlearned, the uninitiated, those that may not understand how things work, believe that the numbers of the noise is the way it will have a tell on the judgment. No. And here, this is not about emotion. It is to deliver co-judgment, devoid of any emotion. And unfortunately, everybody believes that. I think I will agree with them that it seems campaign still continues for them. And maybe that is why. And mind you, if you remember, before now, when it is within the purview of INEC seems to be at the center, being badged left and right. But unfortunately, and I must say this, I'm a little bit uncomfortable discussing about the way our Lord justices, the juries, because you need to know what they put in to be able to rise to be a justice of the Court of Appeal.
So in other words, strictly, the social media hasn't been fair.
Not at all. They've not been fair, and it's just so unfortunate. Though I mentioned that they seem to be unlearned, but again, the truth has to be told. Some are prodding some of this what we are reading, and like I said, they believe that this is another campaign, another way. During the electionary campaign, you have to spew, you have to tweet, you have to deceive people, deceive the electorate that, okay, vote for me. And unfortunately, thinking that now we only have 5 people to face and we need to change their thinking, because somebody called me, I saw one yesterday, if this judgment, if they did not give the right judgment, we will not accept it. Then I quickly reply, what is the right judgment? Because it's fastest to believe that what your position should be the judgment. If you are saying that, then we are not talking of what it is. You are just being breathing down on somebody that it must be mine. And I think we have to really, if I have the opportunity, is to speak out and to say, this is not the way it is. Like I mentioned, I'm uncomfortable discussing how our justices are being disrespected. It should not, and I believe there must be the consequence of all this. Anytime I'm here, I discuss basically issue of reward and punishment, and whosoever that I held must be punished, and whosoever that have been made, that have done something that's been merited, must be praised.
Kayode, sorry to cut you here. You're one legal practitioner who's, so open. Does it also bother you to see that sometimes a few colleagues of yours also delve into the arena and do what you have just said could have come from the unlearned?
Yes, we can say yes and no because they seem to be a bit smart now.
You think that's about being smart?
No, I believe they're being smart in the sense that they always like to do that through process, because as a lawyer, as a legal practitioner, once you hear, the LPDC is there to deal with you. And I think nobody will even like to receive a summons from the LPDC, that's Legal Practitioner Disciplinary Committee. So sometimes they believe, let us use those LPDC may not have jurisdiction over. Because of course, if maybe my driver, I'm just mentioning, my driver should do such, and LPDC should invite him to say, I'm not a lawyer. So please, but I believe there are other institutions of government that can do this. The police is there. Section 360 of the Criminal Act is so clear about when you issue some threat or when you disparage people, particularly when you check the Cybercrime Prevention and Prohibition Act, so clear about when you cyberbullying, because what is happening, because anybody can just pick their Twitter, their Instagram, their Facebook to call out anyone. And yesterday I saw one of the justices where the picture of his image of his, I think maybe his children or his grandchildren, sitting together and somebody say we can reach you anywhere you are. You know, that is a classic case of cyberbullying. And I believe the Nigerian police, their duty is to uphold the law. And once a crime is committed, it is not until when the Inspector General of Police is involved, or the Commissioner of Police, even DPO, that they would need. They need to go all out to do that. The duty of Nigerian, even without complaint, the duty of Nigerian police is when a crime is committed and you are witness to such crime, you have that right of arrest, even without warrant. Until today, I'm here to see Nigerian police doing that.
And to think, sorry again, to think that you just put a clause there, you said even without any formal, complaint, the police can also move in.
Of course, yes. When the crime is committed in your presence, you don't need arrest warrant to even do anything. The same thing that you don't need any complaint from any quarter before you do what is right. It is essence of upholding the law, and that is what should be done. And I just don't know, because, when we all talk about democracy, we want our democracy to strive, but there are some institutions of government, particularly judiciary, that have been able to uphold this democracy, but we should not allow them to live there in the code and allow them to be disparate left and right. It shouldn't be. If I have my word, it's just to say, let even the justice, our judiciary, let them breathe. I think until when we get to that, before people realize what we're talking about.
Reward, reprimands, and the likes, as you put it when you started, and so you're very heavy on that. If you look at it, critically, some of these people who push for such are well known. But again, let's talk about cyberbullying, which is one of the things you just identified here, because if any of the learned justices would have such, in the public, revealing, because they must be protected in the first place, yes, by all means, and they must also be immune from any kind of undue influence, whether from social media or traditional media. What else do you think can be done to strengthen our judiciary, especially in the face of what we're dealing with in the social media? Because you really can't, because when you spoke about proxies, you can't get to everyone on social media.
Yes, I know that. Now, let me quickly say, when you ask what needs to be done, unfortunately, by their station in life, by their calling, by their profession, and by what they are doing, I see them as a bit vulnerable. Not only those who are poor. I always tell people I speak for the poor, I speak for voiceless. And I want to say that the judiciary now seem to be voiceless, because you can't accuse them and you can't see them as I'm talking to defend themselves. So I think it should be the collective responsibility of all of us,
just as we're doing now,
as we are doing, to ensure that they are defended. Of course, anybody could be, of course, you can accuse me. You know that, of course, he said I will go to court, I will jump up, I will do. But unfortunately, by their oath of office and by the code of conduct, you can't see like the Chief Justice of Nigeria to be here to be defending, I did not do this, I did not do that. And I believe that's one of the reasons why people find it so easy and so attractive to call them out and to say anything. After all, nothing will be done. And I think if you ask what should be done, I believe it must be, there is a need for concerted effort by everyone, for anybody, many men with good conscience, to rise up to the occasion. And when we talk of vulnerable people, those who are poor, all those, I think it is high time we believe they need to be considered as one. Today, they are being called, forgetting that some of them, they have families. Some of them, they have kids in school, and you can imagine. Some of them, you find out that we're having a double bullying. The father or the mother will be bullied out. Then the son and maybe the daughter among his friends say, your dad yesterday. You know what I'm trying to say? You may not know what is going on. And unfortunately, they can't say anything. I think if the Nigerian police, you have a special squad, because I remember we have this VIP, this police protection, but maybe if we have something like judicial officer or something like that, and like I mentioned, there must be a consequence of any of this action. Some people need to really go down and pay and at least stay some days to at least to serve it. to ensure that it won't happen. And I am not that one is making anything. As long that people still get away, you can pick your Twitter and you can quickly do anything. It shouldn't be until when celebrity. You can see what happened recently when one of the celebrities said a lady called her out, one of these so-called influencer, what they call them. Please, quickly. Now, she's serving the time. The matter is over. So it shouldn't be until when you are a celebrity. We are talking of these are the people that are holding the society together. We must come to their aid. I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable discussing it because it's like you are discussing somebody who is high up there. But if the situation call for it, it's an unfortunate situation. I think we need a very drastic action to ensure that this should not happen again.
Ajulo, many thanks for speaking with us on this.
Thank you.